There are sports cars, there are supercars, and then there is the Porsche 911. Few machines in automotive history have managed to stay relevant for decades while still feeling like the benchmark every rival is chasing. But now the pressure is higher than ever. The new generation Corvette is faster, more aggressive, and far less expensive. So where does that leave the refreshed 2026 Porsche 911 Carrera 4S? Right from the first glance, this thing reminds you why the 911 still owns a permanent place in every enthusiast's dream garage. The shape is unmistakable. The silhouette is timeless. And somehow Porsche keeps refining the formula without ruining what made it iconic in the first place. This refreshed Carrera 4S arrives with more power, more standard equipment, and sharper technology, but the real surprise is how complete the package feels now. It is not only brutally fast, it is shockingly usable every single day. And honestly, once you experience this car from behind the wheel, you start to understand why so many people still believe the 911 is the greatest sports car ever made. Before we dive in, hit like, subscribe, and join the Next Gear channel because this is the kind of machine that deserves a full, deep dive. Under the rear deck sits a 3.0-liter twin-turbocharged flat-six producing 473 horsepower. That is a serious jump in capability because this is essentially yesterday's GTS power now living inside the Carrera 4S. Power goes through Porsche's legendary 8-speed PDK dual-clutch transmission and sends traction to all four wheels. And the result? Absolute violence. The acceleration feels instant. There is no hesitation, no drama, no wasted motion. You press the throttle, and the car launches forward like it was fired from a railgun. Porsche claims around 3.1 seconds to 60 miles per hour with the Sport Chrono package, but everyone knows Porsche has a habit of being extremely conservative with performance numbers. This thing feels even faster. What makes the experience so addictive is how mechanical and connected everything feels. The flat-six screams behind you while the PDK gearbox fires off shifts with unbelievable precision. Upshifts are razor-sharp. Downshifts crack with authority. Every input feels perfectly timed. And somehow, despite all that speed, the Carrera 4S never feels intimidating. That is where the all-wheel drive system transforms the experience. You can use the power aggressively without feeling nervous. The grip level is absurd. Even when accelerating hard out of corners, the car stays composed and planted. This is the type of performance that makes ordinary sports cars suddenly feel slow. Visually, Porsche did exactly what they needed to do with the refresh. They refined the details without destroying the identity. The new HD Matrix headlights give the front end a sharper and more premium appearance while still preserving that unmistakable 911 face. Around the back, the design remains clean and muscular. The deployable rear spoiler still looks fantastic, especially when extended. The updated rear diffuser and standard sport exhaust give the rear a more aggressive personality, and those black exhaust outlets add just enough menace. Finished in oak green metallic, this Carrera 4S looks absolutely stunning. It has that rare combination of elegance and aggression that only Porsche seems to master consistently. The wheel setup is classic 911. 20-inch wheels in the front, 21s in the rear, wrapped in incredibly sticky performance tires. Behind them sit upgraded brakes borrowed from previous GTS models, and the stopping power feels just as impressive as the acceleration. But the real magic of the 911 starts once you enter a proper road with corners. This is where the car becomes something truly special. The steering is unbelievably precise. Move the wheel even slightly, and the front end reacts instantly. There is almost zero body roll, and the chassis feels so balanced that you gain confidence almost immediately. Some performance cars feel exciting because they are wild. The 911 feels exciting because it feels perfect. Every corner becomes addictive. Every braking zone feels controlled. Every transition feels natural. It almost tricks you into thinking you are a far better driver than you actually are. And that is the genius of Porsche engineering. What makes this even crazier is that the Carrera 4S is not even the highest performance version. This is not a GT3. This is not a Turbo S. Yet it already feels capable enough to embarrass almost anything on the road. Then comes the second personality. Switch everything back into normal mode, and suddenly the 911 transforms into a luxury grand tourer. The suspension softens up beautifully. road noise becomes surprisingly muted. The ride settles down in a way that feels refined instead of punishing. That dual personality is what separates the 911 from so many rivals. Most supercars are exhausting after a few hours. The Carrera 4S feels like something you could genuinely drive every day. Inside, Porsche continues the premium experience with one of the best cabins in the segment. The truffle brown leather interior looks rich and sophisticated, especially combined with the detailed stitching throughout the dashboard and doors. For 2026, the extended leather package becomes standard, which makes the cabin feel even more expensive. Almost every surface you touch feels properly finished. The adaptive sport seats strike an impressive balance between comfort and support. They hold you tightly during aggressive driving, but remain comfortable enough for long highway trips. Technology upgrades are subtle but meaningful. The 12.6-inch digital gauge cluster looks crisp and modern while still preserving Porsche's traditional 5-gauge layout. The infotainment system supports wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and thankfully Porsche still includes physical climate toggles instead of burying everything in touchscreens. One of the best additions for 2026 is the wireless charging pad becoming standard equipment. And yes, this still has rear seats. Technically, adults will not enjoy sitting back there for long, but kids absolutely can, and the rear area works perfectly for extra bags or daily storage. The front trunk is also surprisingly useful. It is not huge, but it easily handles a couple of weekend bags. That practicality matters more than people think because the 911 is one of the few exotic-level performance cars you could realistically live with full-time. Then there is the sound system. If you somehow become tired of the flat 6 soundtrack, the available Burmester audio system is phenomenal. Inside the small cabin, the sound feels immersive and incredibly clean. Still, the real soundtrack comes from behind you, especially with the sport exhaust activated. At higher revs, the engine develops this sharp mechanical intensity that feels emotional without becoming artificial. It sounds engineered rather than digitally enhanced, and that authenticity matters in a world where many performance cars are starting to lose character. Of course, perfection comes at a price, and this is where things become difficult. The Carrera 4S starts around $165,000 before options, but Porsche options can escalate the price very quickly. The example featured here climbs to around $210,000 fully equipped. That is serious money, especially when performance rivals exist for much less. But the truth is, the Porsche 911 has never been about being the cheapest option. It is about delivering one of the most complete driving experiences in the automotive world. And honestly, it succeeds. The reliability reputation is strong. Resale values remain excellent. Build quality feels exceptional. And unlike many ultra-performance cars, this still feels engineered for real-world ownership instead of occasional weekend use. The refreshed 2026 Porsche 911 Carrera 4S proves something important. The 911 formula still works. Actually, it works better than ever. It is devastatingly quick, incredibly refined, beautifully engineered, and shockingly usable every day. Whether you are attacking back roads, cruising across the country, or simply enjoying the sound of that flat 6 on your morning drive, the Carrera 4S delivers an experience that feels genuinely special every single time. And even with new challengers arriving every year, the 911 still feels like the standard everyone else is chasing. That says everything. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to subscribe to the Next Gear channel for more high-performance reviews, luxury cars, and the latest automotive launches from around the world. Drop a comment below and tell us this. Would you take the Porsche 911 Carrera 4S or the new Corvette ZR1?